So this event is being hosted by Cork Regional Ventures Ireland. It's supported by the Electronic and Computing Division, and it's the third event in our October CPD series on AI in engineering. After Ken's presentation, there'll be a question and answer session, and you can use the questions and answers chat box to pose questions. And then if you have any questions here in the room, just raise your hands afterwards. Our presenter here today is Ken Egan. Ken is a chartered engineer and works for PM Group as an information systems manager. He's involved in multiple projects throughout Europe and Asia and is experienced in the introduction of mobile technology to construction teams and the use of new technology within construction. This evening, Ken will take us through some of the AI tools available today, giving us examples of their use to assist engineers in their daily work. Thank you, Ken. Welcome.
Evening all, and welcome to this presentation on AI for the office. As Nice just said there, I'm over 20 years with PM Group, and I've seen a lot of changes over the years since the introduction of, or when I started first in work, where initially I shared a computer with a lad on site. Now where computers are, everybody has a computer, so there's been a lot of change over the years. I suppose my role, I started out as a mechanical engineer, and I've drifted into the information technology, information systems part of the industry. Was most people come to me, ask me questions over the years, asking about how to do things in systems and all that. Since the introduction of ChatGPT and the AI field in the last few years, this has become less and less. But anyway, that's just a little bit on the background there. So AI has changed a lot of things that we do. It enables us to do a lot more, but we need to be careful as well with our AI learnings and what we do with it. We need to, when we get an AI output, we need to examine it. Don't 100% believe it. We need to question it and look for more information out of it. There's always new changes with AI from day to day. So what you may ask today, you ask the same question tomorrow, you'll get a different answer. The AI bots that you will use will change from day to day as well. So, I suppose for this event, when I was voluntold by Jim to do this, I went, well, where am I actually going to start? How am I going to do this? What is the things? So would I do a demo? Would I do a presentation? Would I actually get AI to do it? So in the end, I've come up with a hybrid approach on this. I've got AI to do part of it, and you will see some of this in the later on. The presentation, the images I've used has been caught from AI, so you can see some examples there. This at the moment, the AI bot there, and then some of the information that I got as well was from AI, and I also used my friend Claude. Right, so I'll talk about Claude later on, but basically when I started to do this, I started asking questions of Claude. What would I do? What would the best things be to present to people? And yeah, a few iterations over and back with Claude. This is what we have tonight. So what is AI is one of the biggest, most significant shifts that we have as engineers, our people, since CAD has been introduced. When we went from paper to CAD, now we have computers, we have our AI technology. So whether you're someone that's experimenting with AI tools or you're curious but cautious about what AI can do, this presentation is for you. This is what it will try and help you to see some things that's of benefit and where some of the what to do's and not to do's or how to do's. And I suppose that started the first thing that I have is AI is not here to replace engineers. It's here to help handle the mundane so we can focus on the magnificent. All right. So it helps us do a lot of things. So, as I said, we use from drafting tables to CAD, from calculators to AI. It's doing it, right? It's not here to replace us, it's here to empower us. Okay. So it's here today. It's not science fiction. It's not distant future. It is actually here. It's in our homes. It's in our offices, whether you realize it or not. So some examples I have selected here is you get an email and it's giving you suggested responses when you're trying to reply back to an email, be it a personal email or work email. That's your AI working for you. Um, when your project management tool predicts some timeline risks, that's AI. When you do a search in Google or Bing or whatever, and it gives you back a different answer or a different thing, and it asks you, is this what you meant to ask? That's AI doing it for you. So it's AI is everywhere, and we are using it. For us in engineering offices, it represents a fundamental shift in how we actually do our activities, and how we approach our core aspects of our work. So, first off, engineers, we drown in data, specifications, standards, research papers, documentation, all this. So, we spend 30 to 40% researching stuff. AI can remove that out of it for us. And it can, instead of spending hours, that can be down to minutes. Okay. We can ask it to do our routine analytic checks, right? It takes out the tedious work that we have to do. We can get it to do those repetitive tasks. And they can also help us make decisions. And we'll just see some examples of that later on. So, but it can identify patterns across large data sets. We can use it to help us get through that. What is it? It isn't irrational, it's proven to help us do what we're trying to do. It's a powerful tool that can transform our work and help us to take things and make it better. All right. Some people say, will it take my job? No, it's there to help us, right? And it can engage the tasks that we would normally find mundane or doing, and even you can get junior engineers to now do stuff that senior engineer or mid-career engineers would be doing. It'll do all the groundwork for you, and then it allows the more senior engineers to train these junior engineers in other activities that's going on. And it's so firms that are seeing the greatest benefits aren't actually reducing their headcounts, they're increasing their project capacity. So therefore the teams are not getting smaller. What about errors and reliability? Right. This is the thing. Black boxes. If we look at a black box, you don't trust it. If you can't see in the bottom, personally, if I can't see and I won't trust it. But as engineers, when we get out results, we need to be able to analyze, critique, and know what to do with them. So with the likes of our FEA software, final element analysis software, same story. When I was in college, it done all the calculations. You saw the graph, you saw the output. AI, yes, you look at it the same way with what it's doing. You don't have to understand the technology, the full understand of it. You have to know what the input is, what you should be getting on the outside, but all the calculations and all that's going on in the middle, we don't need to. We get AI to do that and do that heavy lift for us. So AI doesn't just make us faster at tasks that we're doing, but it changes our approaches to things as well. And we can analyze data and look at it in a completely different view than we used to before. So we can collect loads of data from projects or other activities that's going on. It can analyze and churn out results that would have taken weeks or months and put it into a few minutes of a presentation for us. All right. So engineering firms that are using these, I have some figures here, they're seeing remarkable results with 25 to 30% reduction in routine task times and 15 to 20% improvement in project delivery timelines. So most of all, it's taken out that tedious stuff that we have to do over and over again. We're able to give that to the AI bot and let them do it so we can focus on more important tasks. So I'm going to show later on some different examples. I'll jump in, so I'll do a bit more talk about how we use AI, and then we'll get into the examples. So up to yourselves afterwards if you want to embrace AI or not, but I think it's here and we're going to use it. Okay, so sorry, I should have moved forward on this. So just before I go into the next step there, I'm using AI tools tonight. What I've put in is fictional. It's not real. So if you see stuff, I've downloaded images from the web. They're nothing to do with any particular company or anything else like that. So it's all just all made up. The other thing that we also need to take into account, AI is always learning, right? So in order for it's a machine tool. I use that from garbage in, garbage out. It gets garbage in, it'll give you garbage out. It's also taking information that you and I program into it to learn and using it outside of that. And to that, if you have information that is where you have confidential information or non-disclosure agreements, you should not be using it in the free versions. You should be using that in your controlled environments, in your enterprise agreements. Okay, so I'm going to start first with our one of the five AI assistants I just picked for tonight. And the first one is Microsoft Copilot. All right, we all know Microsoft. Copilot is an addition onto the whole Microsoft suite. It's an enterprise option, and there's a free version of it as well. And it can tie into your Outlook and Teams, so you can actually get it to summarize action items from your emails, summarize action items from your Teams meetings. You can record them. You can generate notes. You can actually, and I have some examples there later on. With your likes of your Excel file, you can get it to analyze data sets. It can split it up. You can ask it to do lots of different variances, queries on the actual data. You can actually help it with formulas. It can help you write formulas. It'll help clean up your sheets as well. You get data, people entering stuff all over the place. It does that. With Word, you can get it, if you have a proposal, you can put in some words into it, ask the correct prompt, and it will generate a document for you. You can get it to format it for you. And PowerPoint, this PowerPoint presentation tonight, generated using AI. There's an example. And I will show another example later. The advantages of enterprise Microsoft 365 is it stays within your organization's security framework. So all the data that you have can stay within your company's framework, and then you're not exposing it to anyone outside of it. Just to note that within Copilot and Microsoft, there's a lot of different levels. So if you are using it, make sure that you've got whatever version that your IT department makes you aware of that, and that you have the necessary steps involved. Because I don't know how many levels there is, but depending on what you have, you can have full access or partial or bits of it. So just ask the question on it. The next item I'm going into is Google Gemini. So this is our multimodal tool, right? So multimodal, that means then that it's not just text, it's texts, images, diagrams. It does a feature of things. This is where it makes it unique from all other AI platforms that I'm going to discuss tonight, because it manages our images and our diagrams. It handles the visual information. Not alone can it read the visual information, but it can also output the visual information to us as well. It'll work with technical diagrams, so you can get it to read a process and instrumentation diagram. You can ask it to trace the transfer of a fluid from one vessel to another and indicate what instruments or pumps or valves that it may go through in doing that, provided you give it all the information going in and the right prompts with it. You can upload charts or graphs and ask it questions about it. Is there abnormalities with that actual graph or chart that's in there? It also works in the Google suite of data. So if you're using Google instead of first one was Microsoft Copilot, some organizations use the Google suite. So you have your docs, your sheets, your slides. it integrates with that and with your email also. Um, and it can also understand PDFs, which is better than most of the other applications that's out there. It can extract specific requirements from those PDFs. The other thing is Google Gemini is constantly evolving. I know there's another big release due in the next few days with Google Gemini, which, from what I've been reading on the chats, is going to change us again. It's a whole new thing coming. Okay. Next item is my friend Claude. All right. So I use Claude for complex reasoning, and there's a few of my friends and all that I know that use Claude as well to ask it questions and different things. They aren't engineers; they're another discipline, but yeah, the things that they can ask it. It's more detailed for higher complex, so you can load large documents into it. The returns that I give you is much larger, much more detailed, and it also is gives you precise technical reason. As I say, if you ask it a question and it's unsure, it will tell you no, it doesn't know. Unlike the other AI bots out there, they'll try and give some sort of an answer. If it doesn't know, it says no. Okay. Um, you can ask it. So one of the examples here is I can upload 150 pages project spec, and I can ask it to extract certain information from that, and I can get it to examine a number of documents together. For that, you need the enterprise version, not the free version. So you can pay for these, and it's the number of iterations and questions is what the charges are. It can also review code when you give it context. So what I mean is, if you have your Python for doing calculations with Excel, or you have other ways of code out there, you can actually input that code in. You can say the context around, well, I'm inputting this, I should be expected to get this out. If I'm getting a problem with this code, it will actually give you the iterations to help you fix that code, which is for anyone that wants to play with code in the background for doing things, off you go. It also does the nuanced communication. So what that is if you have a technical document and you need to give it to an engineer that's in structural, that's grand, it'll export out the data for that person. But if you need to give it to the cost person and they don't need all the structural data behind it, it can extract. And if you had a publication that you're trying to give to the local residents on something that was going on, from that same document, you have 3 outputs, and it's just with a simple prompt into Claude to break it out. That's Claude. ChatGPT. We all know ChatGPT. When was that? 2022 when it first broke, and it's the sort of everybody. This is what everybody is on about. Our ChatGPT by OpenAI. It's totally versatile. It does everything. It does your knowledge. It looks at materials, looks at documents, can do the code, and basically takes a little idea and you can create a technical document out of it. It also does different calculations for it. It does your code calculations, same as with Claude and some of the Copilot when I come to in a minute. It can help write Python functions for you as well. So Python is, for some people, they may have been used to Excel where you had your VBA for doing all your coding. Python now does all this, and it's a better language and it's safer for doing. There is other languages out there as well. I can start naming a whole lot if you want, but I'm not going to bore you with that. There is advanced features when you use the plus or the paid version of it, right? So then that you can actually upload more information into it and ask it, and it will do more for you on that. There is a critical limitation with ChatGPT, and this is something that I only found out a couple of months ago, really. But basically, on ChatGPT's knowledge, it has a cutoff date, and it's currently at 2024. Now, I don't know when in 2024, but for most versions, that's at 2024. So always check your standards or your codes or regulations that it is up to the latest, right? So that was something that I got caught with. Next item then I wanted to just introduce is our GitHub Copilot. So not to be mixed up with your Microsoft Copilot. This is for the people that do code, the people that want to write apps, that side of it, right? So holder side to the thing. It does real-time code assisting, right? So you can actually plug this straight into your code studios and it can actually help you doing this, right? It can build your custom analysis tools, it can your workflows and all that. It can automate tasks. So if you want to go off and learn, yes, you can use it, and it will actually teach you how to do the coding if you wanted to build certain things. We can use it to extract data from PDFs and all that. It has got a whole library of data. It's out there. You can use it to extract in the data. It has got there's the learning accelerator. So if you want to learn how to write code, a certain code language, you can ask it and it'll give you step-by-step instructions into how to do it. It has many libraries. It has loads of different libraries for loads of different data analysis softwares, and it has all the different common patterns and all that on it. What they say about the GitHub Copilot is for real developers, they are reporting a 30 to 50% coding with Copilot. Now, even though it's quicker to do the initial coding, they still have to go through the refining of the code afterwards, but it's still dramatically faster than starting from scratch. Just the important part is that with GitHub, be cautious of proprietary logarithms. It learns from public code, all right? So while your code isn't shared, but intellectual property can be shared through the other libraries. So you just need to be careful with that when you are using GitHub. And like with them all, you need to check your company guidelines as well on this. So I've touched on 5 of them there. We just there, right? Which is the right tool for you? Which one do you need to use? So I said Microsoft Copilot. If you're using any of the Microsoft applications, you don't have to go and learn how to use a new application. It's there. It's an addition on it. It's an extra menu bar for you. So it's there to help you. For Google Gemini, same story. It's an extra icon in there. You'll notice when you go and do your web searches, it's there. If you're working with diagrams or images, I'd be using Google Gemini. For Claude, as I say, I've talked about for large documents, you want your complex reasoning. Yes. Just general around the house, ChatGPT will help you do a lot of that and do your brainstorming. It's the most versatile of them. And then if you're doing your coding, it's GitHub. There's no one item that I would stick to. You need to look at them all, and they all have their different tasks, and they're all complementary to each other, not competitive. So they're the ones that you want to use. Okay, so that's the introduction to the system. Just a couple of things on best practices, and then we'll get into the demo. So with this, I used that earlier. GIGO, garbage in, garbage. It's how you put in your code or your prompts into the AI technology to give you your outputs. And so it's like asking, build a beam for me or design a beam. It'll go away and it'll give you a whole lot of information. Whereas if you break it down into, I want a beam that's going to be cantilevered and it's supported at one end and it's going to have carry vehicles and whatever tar on the top of it, then it gives you a bit more, give you more detailed information. So in order to do that, you need to have what is out there is the clear framework. All right. So basically what that means is that you need to put a context into your prompt. Right. So what I mean there is that you need to give it a bit more information, background information about what you're trying to do or your problem or where you're going with it. And that then helps tailor the response that you get. So I have an example here is how to design a foundation. Yeah, right, civil engineers here would get that. Whereas a better one would be, I'm designing a foundation for a 3-story office building in Dublin, Ireland. The site has clay soil with moderate bearing capacity. The structure will be steel framed and a total load of approximately 15,000 kilonewtons. You're going to get completely different answers, and I'll show that there in a while. Right. So that's one of the things that you need to look at. So context. The length or the limitation of it then means you need to give it special constraints around constraints around the boundaries, around the standards, the location, and requirements that is needed for it, right? We all work to codes and standards. So yeah. So when you're putting your prompt in, give it its limitations. Then you have an example, right? So provide examples of what you want or don't want, right? So if you're saying, I want to generate a report, right, prepare a report for me. Or I need to have a structured report on whatever the code is, it will tailor the result based on that. And then the action, clearly, what do you want the AI to do, right? Do you want a report? Do you want a table? Do you want a PowerPoint presentation? What is it that you actually want? And then the next part of then is the result, right? Define how you want it out. Then is it going to be in a folder? Is it going to be in a? Is it going to be tables? Who's going to be reading it? What is your audience of it? So use the clear framework for doing your thing. And the second part to it then is to avoid these common mistakes when you're doing it. So try not to be vague in your questions. I used the example of the beam. Give it a bit more to the context. So don't be, or the example there is try to tell me about retaining walls, right? So I don't know, some people tell me a whole lot about retaining walls, but there's different types of retaining walls. So if I was on about a cantilever retaining wall using Rankin theory, you get a whole other different response out of it. So you just need to not be too vague, but give it enough information to it. Don't omit critical context, right? So when you're talking about your beam, is it 6 meters? Is it 20 foot? What are you actually doing? Give it that critical information inside there. And it's going to be supporting a load, the information like that on it. Do not ask multiple unrelated questions, right? So when you're asking questions, don't ask it. So the example of foundation, help me design a foundation. Also, I need to know about the concrete curing and the best project management for software. There are 3 separate questions. Do not put them into the one question. Ask them separately. Ask it in there. And the final one, second last one is mind reading. It can't read your mind. So don't ask it to try and read your mind. Give it a bit more information when you're in there doing it. And then finally, the important one is give it feedback, right? So AI is machine learning. It's learning from what we give it. So if it gives you a result, give it the positive feedback. If it gives you something that you're not happy with, input that this isn't what I was expecting, and it will learn from that as well. It has to learn something, so it's continuously learning. So we need to give it that feedback when we're doing it. Protect your sensitive data. So, and we've already covered that. And AI, when you get your result, double check it. Don't believe everything you get. Okay, you need to be following up on it. Okay, so some examples I have then, where I've taken some daily use cases. So with meeting and email management here. So I've used AI for meetings and other information here. So I've used it to generate an email summary list here for me. So I've gone into my email here. I've opened Copilot on the side. And what it's done is I've asked a question about what emails have I received from Microsoft. It's gone in. You can see it in the background. It's pulling all the different information. It's analyzing all the different things. It's gathering it all together. And this, I've ran this real time, and now I'm going to. I have a number of prompts there, and I'm going to select the list the upcoming tasks from Microsoft, and it's going away and it's pulling out the certain information that there is to block out some company information there. But it's gathering the whole lot together, and you can see it working through in the background. It gathers all the information for you, and I can see the thing at the bottom, and I'm going to ask it to review those emails and see if there's any action items for me within that. And it's produced it into a table, and I've asked it to put it into a table, breaking it out into that. What I can now do is click on the copy of the response. I can go out to Excel and paste it into Excel, and there is my action items from a few emails. What was that? Less than a minute. It combed through all the emails. So if you're on a project and you have Outlook and you have Copilot, you can put in that prompt. It'll do it for you in a minute. You can have it all. You can take it out into Excel or whatever afterwards, and you can do more stuff with it. The great thing with Copilot and all these things is you can save these prompts. You can automate these prompts as well. Okay. Another example there is asking it questions, right? So I put in compare welded versus bolted steel connections for a structural application, including advantages and disadvantages of critical things. Now, if you notice up in the top right here, try GPT-5 is not turned on. I'll turn it on later and you see that I get a different set of answers. So this is within Copilot. It can give you a certain set of things. It's also, because it's Copilot in my organization, it has referenced other SOPs and stuff that's on the project that I've accessed recently, that's on our work environment. So it can actually pull all that information from our work environment, and it's produced a list of items there, and it's all related to that particular project. You can direct it where you see the plus sign at the bottom here. You can add it that it can look at a folder set of information as well, and it can pull it down into that, and it gives you, as you can see, the next steps that's involved within it. I am now going to turn on the chat or the GPT-5 and input the same question, and you will see that the results that pull out from it is different, and it gives a different layout. So I'm still using Copilot. It's on my enterprise version from work, but it is tailored with the chat, with the GPT-5 on it, and it's giving a more structured, detailed response relating to what I want to. The great thing about all these is you can copy these out into other things and use them. There's just two features up there. This presentation, which I'll be sending on later. But I put into this, I want to generate a presentation for this talk. So I've said I'll generate a 50-minute presentation, uses of AI, said using PowerPoint, be memorable with the slides, and then mention Copilot, Gemini, Claude, Chappy, and just proper prompts in there, and then just hit and ask it for speaker notes and that. And I've left this run real time. So it's recorded, but this was real time, asking it to do it. So what it'll do is it goes away, pulls all the information. You can see it's analyzing there. And it'll start to put up the different results as it gets through it. And when you'll see in a moment. And when it's finished, it actually saves a version of it into your OneDrive folder, where you can then go in and actually pull that out afterwards. Now, say I went at it afterwards and changed it. So wasn't happy with everything, but it gave me a starting ground. It went through the presentation, so you can see there now it's giving me, so it tells me the file has been generated there, saved in OneDrive. It gives you analysis of it, talks a bit about the presentation, or you can click there to download it directly as well. You can do the exact same in the other applications as well. There, that was one of the iterations of this presentation. And you can see it goes through. I didn't touch anything on it. I just opened it directly when I downloaded it. That's what I got. That was one iteration of the presentation for tonight. When it goes through, you can just see all the slides, done the images for me. Yeah, it's broken into sections as well, which either if you're using PowerPoint, it's actually nice to do the sections and you can group it up. You saw that was the direct output just from that first prompt that you saw there, right? As I said, Claude, there was more iterations, so that wasn't it. But you can see at the bottom here, it has done the notes as well. So if you wanted to generate notes for you, it'll do it. Okay. The enterprise version versus the free version, the slides weren't as pretty. That's the difference there. So I used the free version on my own computer. I have the enterprise version for work. Yeah, it's done. It was better. So that's an example of where you can use it to help you. So if you are doing a presentation, as long as you get your prompts right, get the information in, you can generate that. And that, yeah, in under 10 minutes, you can have a presentation that prior to this, you probably would have spent 2 to 3 hours trying to put together. Next one is Teams. I used AI a lot in Teams, so recording of the meetings. And there's a new facilitator option now, so you don't have to do the full video recording, so don't have to go back at that afterwards. It records it, but it gives you prompts and all that. So first off, I'm just going to show you in a Teams meeting where it can actually help you when you're sending out an invite. So first off, turn on my facilitator. But when I'm drafting my email, my invite, I can go up to draft with Copilot up in the top right hand corner there, and it can it's telling me what I want to change. I can auto rewrite. I can do that. This same feature is available on your emails as well. So depending on what you're trying to do, you can do the auto rewrite, and it has pulled in that. You can do the AI generated part of it. You can go through, you can do replace, you can give it the feedback if you need to. And further down there, you will see that I will select another option to make it longer so I can do replace. So scroll down and it then I can say make it shorter, make it longer, change the tone. And you can do this within emails as well. So when you're writing something, it's very handy that way to go away, and it'll give you different options. So you don't always have to accept the options, and you can undo them. Very straightforward. And yeah, you can also use it to search for times when people are available. Now, that was the invite I sent out. I had turned on facilitator on that, so I ran through my pre-presentation, and I got it to record it. So the facilitator went and created these AI notes from my presentation. So it went through all the different things it talked about, and it pulled in this example then of notes of where the different things that I've discussed in this, it automatically generated all those from the meeting. This was available during the meeting and post the meeting, available for download. I didn't mention anyone, but you can see the full transcript. With a transcript like this, there was one of our colleagues was talking the other day where they were doing a session, they recorded it, and English isn't their first language, but they recorded the session that they'd done. They then exported that out into, they downloaded it into a Word file. They then got AI to Copilot to go through it, reword it in proper English for them, and then went and were able to read that through for their next presentation when they were doing their training session with their rest of the colleagues. So there's lots of different benefits of this. You can also see here now, I've also put in a question, I've asked of the transcript what was said of GitHub. It's gone in here now and it's gone into GitHub Copilot and tells you about it. And all the information is there. There is lots of prompts that you can do within it. You just click on the bottom and it will generate those for you inside there. Right, so I'm going now to the web, and I'm just going to show you a few other ones outside. So that was just with Microsoft Copilot. And so here's an example of the free version, as I'll call it, of Copilot, where I've just put in a prompt. I have an upcoming kickoff meeting with a mechanical contractor. I need to prepare an agenda for this meeting with the minimum requirements of the contractor and key milestones to be met. So it's returned the answer. It's come back with it goes through the steps that you need to go through, the welcomes, the brief introduction, the purpose of the meeting, project overview, and all the key points that we need to go through on said meeting. And then it looks for the minimum requirements from that contractor. It broke out the key milestone dates, example there to be put in. And it wants you then, would you like help in customizing specific type of mechanical? So you can you can continue on your chat within that particular chat, right? So that's within Copilot. You can start a new chat or you can continue asking iterations. There is a limit to the number of iterations of a chat that you can have. There's a limited number of it on the free versions. There's a number of questions you can ask per day, number per month. On the enterprise versions, it gets to a limit where it's just overload and it makes you start a new one. But you can reference the other chats as well. Okay, so there's some of the things. And the great thing about all these is they all have this copy at the bottom. You can copy it out and you can paste it into whatever and work from there as well. You can do your publish of it. You want to send it a message, and there is other items that's available inside there. That's Copilot. Gemini. Right. This is not a picture of a project in Ireland. This was something I just downloaded from the web. It's just a picture, right? So I just said, look at the attached image and point out the risks from this photo. And basically, it's come back with, you can turn on the show the thinking and go through all the iterations, but it outlines a number of key points there. So the lack of fall protection, the unsafe access, it lists out those. So that can be handy to do. The great thing with the likes of Gemini like that, you can have it on your mobile as well. You can take a picture of something as well with your phone. You can ask it; it'll give you them back straight away. Another example I put in here is I took a picture for another, it's a random picture as well from somewhere else. And I just said, I have a junior engineer on site taking the attached image, prepare a method statement for this activity and format a toolbox talk for the workers involved. So basically it tells you, yeah, it's a great initiative. Bang. It goes through safe system of work, method statement. Yeah, it has broken it out. I didn't give it any of these. When you've seen the prompt I put, this is what it has come back with. It's broken out into this. Who's responsible? It's taken in. Now, AI, don't believe everything. You have to go and do your work as well. But it can give you some pointers. It's a first step. You're sitting down sometimes, you're trying to write out a risk assessment or something for something. Yeah, you can draw that blank. Something like this can give you a few prompts to help you with it. Identify the hazards, right? It picks up on these. You can hit export out to sheets at any stage in there. It's done a takeaway and it's done all this, right? That's one. I've done another example here where took an image where there is something of a shed, just an idea. I'm taking a photograph, provide a DIY enthusiast with necessary information, step by step, for breaking down what would be involved in making a shed similar to this, give it some dimensions, the whole lot. And it's gone away and it's created this little thing here where it gives you a table of all the parts that's there, which is handy, gives you the quantities and all that sort of stuff that you may need for it, which you can export out, tells you the essential tools required, and the necessary skills that person will need for that. And then it has a breakdown of a timeline of how long it'll actually take to do it. I know it's AI, but it's something else. Okay. And then another one now, we all know where this is. down in where the marina, where the marquee used to be in Cork. So it's an old picture. But what I've done is I've drawn a red line around this here. I've drawn a yellow line and I've drawn a blue line up here, which is not that clear. But I was saying, taking the area within the red line, a construction area, and a blue line, which is proposed site entrance, area with the yellow boxes for the construction offices and storage units, and the rest of the site. And it goes through just a bit of a spiel on it, and asks it then to what can be done to access construction offices using 6-meter containers. Site entrance should include security office. And basically, it's come back with access and traffic management recommendations, right? Now, look at this. I haven't stated where it is. I have just taken this picture, right? If you look at the picture, all right, it has got text there, but it's just a grab of the said picture, right? I didn't say where it was or anything else like that, but it has put in the Marquise Road. It has picked up on the other things that's in the area, right? It also has a dedicated site road and has put in the likes of a wheel wash facility, which, all right, we all in construction, we know what that is, but for some people, they may not have considered something like that. Traffic flows, talks about pedestrian and traffic and vehicle segregation, and your hoarding, and then the construction offices, and gives a few items of how you would actually lay it out. And layout drawings, then concept goes through, security office entrance, just an example of what the multimodal version of Google Gemini can do. So then finally, just a PIN-ID and just explain the steps in the process, right? Now, this is just a general PIN-ID I've downloaded from a website, so it's not it's not going to come up. Just basic, just the vessel with instruments and all. I just asked it, explain the steps of the process. Goes back to what you can use your prompt engineering and you follow all the guidelines and all, and you will get a proper answer. But if you give it a question like that, it can't tell you the overall thing. But does it give me a lot of information back? It does. So, there's a lot of useful information that can be got if you don't useful. If you don't give it a full prompt, you can get a lot of information. You can do a lot of reading. You just need to figure it out. So the next one is thought. So here's some of the iterations that I have. And it's the same thing, personal assistant, public space. So I'm telling Claude, it's my personal assistant, and it's an expertise in public speaking and debating, and I've asked it to help me with this thing. And it goes through and it acknowledges, it gives me a 2-page introduction of all this sort of stuff here, and it can generate a presentation. And when I click on it, it comes out here on the side. All right. And you can either copy that out or you can publish it, and it helps you. And you can see it has done quite a lot of information inside here. It goes through the different parts here, and then you can ask it to do its demonstration of it. So it does slides. Look, there's lots of iterations I could have gone through in this. Talks through the different things you can do with it, and goes from there. So you can ask it lots and lots of questions, and to go in and do your new chats. All your chats are shown in your history in the background afterwards. ChatGPT. The example there is I put in the foundation for a 3-story office block in Dublin. The example I read out earlier, right? So it went away and was able to give me key design information, right? And because it's in Dublin and it picks up on the Eurocodes and the structural rules and the annex, bearing in mind everything up to 2024. Okay? So quick rule of thumbs for Dublin Clay, going from memory information. It does a little bit of arithmetic on it for you, and it shows you there what it can do, right? And give you detailed information. Here's a quick summary of recommendations, and you can then take that. And the great thing about this is you can go into your sources here and you can verify your sources, and you can go and research those. It's all that information is in there. Next one is my GitHub. So GitHub can be used for all the different coding things. It can be also used to create apps. So I just put in here, I need to create an app to record good receipts on site. It needs to be able to record the following: delivery number, company items. I gave it a list of things and then went into core features of it. It went through, pulled out all this. Now, bear in mind, this is only the code. You need to have a platform that you're going to put this onto, and then you can launch it. So there is more to it than just, but if you use your AI technology, it will step you through how to do all this. I'm just showing the example of a small few lines of code, or sorry, of a prompt, what it can give you, and the code that it gives you out is the proper code that you can have for different things, right? I'm not a software engineer, mechanical, but there you go. It just gives you some of the things to look at and how to go and build that, right? Some people on this may understand all this. It's just the information is there, but it gives you the different examples that you can do. Okay. And the final thing I want to show, which I didn't actually include in the presentation, is Notebook LM. There is a similar feature in Copilot as well as Notebook. And basically, what you can do with this is you can load a whole lot of documents, like I have here, and you can ask it information about it. So it's giving me my AI guides and resources. But the great thing about this Notebook LM from Google is you can create in the studio over here, you can get it to create different things. So one of the things is that when you put in all these documents, you can get it to generate a
the
podcast.
science, really, and the
Example.
specific ways you need to talk to these things to build genuinely powerful, autonomous AI.
Yeah.
The whole conversation seems to have
Just an
shifted.
example.
It's not just what you're asking anymore.
No, not at all.
It's how you structure that question and well, how you build whole systems that can.
That's just autonomous there. You can go into the prompt engineering as well. It can create a video for you as well. So just quickly, I'm not going to.
Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a skill that's quickly becoming, well, let's be honest, it's becoming absolutely essential in the modern workplace. Learning how to talk to AI.
Right? All I done was input it in these documents or these files I had downloaded for Gemini and for Guide to AI agents and all that into this, and made use of Notebook LM Studio, and it has done this. It can do flashcards for you, which is handy if you're trying to do some study or something like that, and questions and all that. And the final thing it can do then is, sorry, it can do flashcards, quizzes, reports, mind maps. Mind maps are always something that is handy when you're trying to do things. It'll do a mind map for you. You just click on it, it goes away, it generates these, and then you can use it to drill in. So that's that part. I'm just back into my thing. So I went through that. Next steps. Right. If you want to learn more about AI, there's loads of free AI training sessions out there. Just AI it. It'll give it to you. Right. Get your internal champions together. I've developed teams. That's how we've managed in our company. Put teams together to do, and we have champions, and we're constantly going meeting and looking at the different things we can do with it. Build a good usage. You have to use it. You can't be afraid of it. You have to make use, and then share your success. Right? Measure it and share it with everybody that's in there. Questions? Sorry, I know I've rattled on. Sorry.
I think Ken, that was brilliant for someone who's savvy at all. I'm just wondering, though, I suppose in engineering terms, the threats We've spoken about the opportunities, the advantages, of the threats, I suppose, in terms of design. I think, how do you see this being regulated or controlled? So I'm Bob the Builder. I can go in, I can put in a span, I can do what you just with a building, and I can spit out something that may or not work. So there's a number of shortcuts there, but I see threats everywhere to design engineers now, for example.
That's
How to control and regulate.
how is it controlled? It has to be controlled by your company's procedures and policies. And as engineers, there is frameworks in there, and there is the European legislation there about AI, and that back to your good engineering practices. You can use it for your initial scopes and all that, but your final calculations and designs need to be done by the engineers. It does the heavy lift for you. We can gather all the information, but like everything, we have to check it, and you cannot rely on the final output from it. You have to check it. It's back to people. We are people. It's a computer. It's as good as the information that you put in. Same with your calculator, and you put in the values on it. It's down to the input.
On that point, again, thank you very much. Brilliant presentation. Really
Thank you.
enjoyed it. You mentioned a couple of things there. You talked about research, you talked about refining code. Those are skills for a young engineer or in any profession. If they have AI at their fingertips, that just does it for them. They never learn the skill. They never learn how to do research. They never learn how to check them what they've been fed. And you said it, you need to double check the results. How do you learn? How do young engineers learn? And how's PM managing that?
Well, so at the moment, PM is not using this fully for we're testing the different sections of it and that. As regards in young engineers learning, they have to follow with a senior engineer, and they have to check the results and go through. And it's the senior engineers can now spend more time mentoring those junior engineers, and that's where it's going to come more. The more senior people need to spend more time going through and mentoring our younger engineers, because they're coming in from school, they're having their mobile phones, they're doing all the checks. It's AI is out. Everybody wants AI. They're all trying to do it the quickest and shortest. We're all trying to reduce the workload that we have. But we need to get the point across to them that they can't rely on the computer, that they need to check their results, and needs to be metric by thing. And I'll use the example of BOMDAS or maths. If you look and you try and put in the maths equation into AI and any of them, you will not get the correct answer if you have brackets and all that in it. So there's still a long way to go on that.
Yeah, a few questions about there's a question here about what's complex project complete life cycle in mind. How much criticism failing made it particularly forward?
Well, I had there between 25 and 30% of the time is saved. It's early days yet as regard the overall thing. So sorry, hold on. I spent here, so the 30 to 40% of our time is spent doing study and research, which is now gone with AI. It's hard to quantify at this stage. This is a new thing that we're using. Until we get a number of projects under our belts, we're not going to be able to set exact values just yet.
The second question here, which in AI working effectively, is there any scheduling software like Project or River that works with AI?
I haven't seen anything that really works with AI at the moment. The best one of the whole lot there is the Gemini, where it can take images. So you'll export it from your scheduling software, put it in there, and ask it to interpret and see what it sees from it. Outside of that, I don't know at the moment.
There's no more questions online, but I have a question myself. if it's picking up standards and stuff like that from online, is it actually reading standards that you actually have to pay for as well? Is it actually reading standards you'd actually have to pay for to view the standard? Can it actually see that the AI can it see that?
I haven't delved that depth into the thing of the standards. It'll tell you where they're coming from, so it has to be reading the standards. It has paid its license for them. But it depends on if you're using the paid version or the free versions of those. So you saw it there with um the results that I had there under one of them. I'm not sure which one it was. Here, this one. Sorry, I had one there where it has you can click on the links, and sorry, I'm in the free version. It's not showing me the standards, whereas the paid version, Enterprise, does. But it also has looked internally to our standards within PM. So PM has those standards that that we have in our library that are available to us. So it works in our Enterprise version. So it will look at what's on our system. Now, just on that, if it's not going to be able to see the whole, if I'm restricted out of certain folders, it won't let me see the values in those folders either. It's whatever I have access to. But fully don't know the answer to depends on the application you're using.
So basically, the access that it can has is based on the access that the user has.
The user has on the enterprise versions. On the free versions, it varies. You need but it'll give you a number next to each of the sources, and you can click into that to do more research and find out where that's coming from.
And I know a few companies that have completely blocked AI from their IT systems. Do you have any opinion on that? If it's sensible or if it's been taking their thinking?
Well, they're trying to protect their own investment. They're trying to protect their own IP. We're all human. People are going to find ways around it, right? So yes, the computer systems, but we all have mobile phones. We all have things. People will try alternative ways to try and use AI. Blocking it completely without having some sort of a plan in place or something could cause issues for said companies later. Is it good or bad? Still very early to say. Some people rely on it. If you don't have the correct procedures in place around AI and all that, it probably is a good idea to have it locked at the moment until you have a plan to roll it out to make sure that people don't do things that they shouldn't be doing with AI.
The worry would be that if somebody tried to get around it and was using a free version, then suddenly the company's data can be exposed.
And that's why
it's prudent to actually bring.
Yeah, every company needs to have some sort of a plan on how to use it. It's everywhere. As I said, it's on our search engines when you start. It's there. You can't completely block
it. Another question online there. If we are constantly asking AI to do work for us, do you think future generations of engineers will lose many skills like technical report writing or related skills?
Yeah, I think we've already lost it with certain generations that are coming along. The art of writing is gone.
More questions online. More.
Your role within PM, you're on the engineering
Construction services, yes.
services. The other departments within PM, are they going along the same pathway?
It's a company-wide thing where I'm the person that's front and center for the construction group, but all the other departments, our analytics, our digital group, our engineering design, everybody is in on it. We have it for some projects we're doing certain parts of it with it.
And from a change management perspective, are you seeing differences in the rate of adoption or skepticism across all of your different colleagues in different
It
professions?
it varies from the individuals and the projects. There are certain individuals that will embrace it, and it's not. I would have originally said it would have been the age difference, but it's not. It's across the board. There's lots of different things that people are doing and accepting it, and how people are using it. There is some of the project managers that have every meeting that they go to or that they're involved in, they have it set up that it auto records and they have their minutes out of it. There's one of the project managers there on one of the thing. He was on holidays for a week, but he had his AI set up to attend all these meetings. So when he came back on the following Monday, he had his prompt into it and he was able to get a full synopsis of all the meetings for the week and all the items that was there. And one of the other people there was going to me and wanted to know exactly what was happening on a certain project. I went and pulled out a load of documents that was there related to it, minutes and all that. Heard it in, gave a 2-page summary. We had the few key points that we needed, but I had all the rest of the information I got to go through then afterwards. It depends, and it depends on the individuals and how people. Some people embrace technology, some people don't.
One last question online. Um, you said about combining apps. Do you need to use the apps separately, or can they use the Google search as well?
Not in Google search. No, you need to keep them. You will use your Copilot with your Microsoft applications when you're using it. So as regards work, Google Gemini is not one of our paid applications, so I can't use it. Personally, I do use it outside and not for work activities, but just using it as training and testing and trying to see out there. I try to get them to all talk together. Not really. It's not. I put a question. I've tried it even with this here, where I put a question into Copilot, Google Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT. 4 completely different. I was actually one of the things I was going to throw up, 4 completely different answers. So it depends on and mixing them together, I don't think that will seem to put water and oil together.
And Ken, you mentioned about ChatGPT that it's 2024 or that's as far as it goes. Do any of the other software platforms have a limitation like that on time?
Some do, but as regards when, no, this is where we need to go and check that. And that's something I didn't have time to delve into to look at.
So we'll give you a break after that.
Thank you.
Quick. Again, thanks very much for this evening. It's very insightful and gave us a really good overview of all the different applications. So I hope it's of use to everybody, and thank you very much for attending this evening.